In the past decade, police technology has grown fast. Around the world, we've seen police go from pad and paper and old Crown Vic sedans to today, when officers are being trained on flying motorcycles coupled with facial recognition drones and even the ability to predict crime before it happens. Are we finally close to living in the crime-free future promised to us by the Minority Report? And how much privacy will we have to give up to get there? Unfortunately, crime still happens, but policing has been rapidly evolving, and a lot of that is based on new technology. Besides basic upgrades like moving from clunky laptops and police cruisers to sleek tablets, or shifting most of the begrudging paperwork to digital automation, some police departments have also been inching closer to increased accountability and transparency through tech. A nationwide focus on police brutality and racial profiling has prompted many departments to require body cameras. Nowadays, you're more likely to see them as standard issue, alongside a gun and a badge. Studies have backed up the massive benefits of body cameras, especially those that trigger automatically and back up remotely to the cloud. Not only do they make sure officers are accountable for what's done while recording, but it also helps officers when civilians make complaints or dispute events. Some technology designed specifically for police shootings includes the Responder Alert Weapon Drawn, which is a Bluetooth module that sits in a gun holster and triggers immediate recording when an officer pulls out their weapon. Many departments are dealing with issues of deadly force by training their officers in virtual reality. Instead of using expensive and elaborate training fields, officers are given VR headsets where they're able to experience realistic and immersive scenarios, like domestic violence, traffic stops, unstable individuals, and even situations where an officer may have to use deadly force. But this technology isn't only used in cases of on-the-ground policing. Detective work has gotten much better through the use of artificial intelligence to track fingerprints, facial recognition, license plate scanning, and other systems that used to take up massive amounts of manpower to sort through data. Even consumer corporations are getting in on police AI. Amazon's recognition system can identify objects and faces using AI, and it's being implemented by at least one police department in Oregon to quickly sort through arrests and booking photos to find prior convictions. Police in London are also currently using similar systems in conjunction with surveillance to scan mass amounts of faces in real time to spot wanted criminals on the street, at festivals, and even busy shopping centers. Of course, this sort of technology has many people worried about their privacy, and for good reason. In June of 2018, the US Supreme Court passed a ruling preventing police from being able to get more than 6 days of your cell phone location records without a warrant. Since every modern cell phone has GPS, your location is constantly being recorded, and police can simply request that data to track your whereabouts even if you haven't been charged with a crime. This, coupled with new technology that suggests it can predict crime, may just change the way police interact with those they think are potential criminals, and in the meantime, create massive ethical and moral questions about policing and privacy. Since the Fifth Amendment prevents people from being forced to give up their phone passcodes, police have turned to third-party hacking tools to gain access to confiscated phones. One company, called Grayshift, has been selling police departments a device for $15,000 that can unlock iPhones through brute force methods. But in June of 2018, Apple updated the latest iPhone operating system to make these expensive Grayshift devices useless, showing that they're willing to fight back against law enforcement techniques to keep their users' data safe. But a $15,000 device is just a drop in the bucket, especially when it comes to predictive policing. Police in Hartford, Connecticut have already invested $2.5 million into data analysis and surveillance specifically to test out pre-crime tech. Predictive policing essentially relies on analyzing massive amounts of data and finding patterns in that data that are related to increases in crime. For example, using GPS tracking, police can see if a large number of people are coming and going from a particular house, which can suggest that it's being used for drug deals. And gone are the days of a helicopter trying to keep up with a police chase, or long-term stakeouts with a thermos of coffee and binoculars. Now, autonomous or remotely controlled drones are already being used in places like New York City to map crime scenes, watch over large events, and to aid in search and rescue operations, according to the New York Times. They can even be used to reach remote crime scenes, or in hostage situations, or to examine bombs up close without putting police at risk. For now, police tech has grown fast enough to keep up with new crime, while also reducing the burden on police officers and in some ways trying to solve problems like police brutality while increasing transparency. But not everyone is on board with the recent advancements, especially when it comes to tracking and surveillance. For now, we'll just have to wait and see where we end up in the fight for privacy and accountability in law enforcement.